What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another late night in the BrewLab with me, Lone Fox, your brewmaster in chief. And tonight, in the BrewLab, I'm coming at ya with a Simic Ramp deck that is tribal themed. One yes, one no. We're going to be testing out two different decks tonight. I know, Nigel, if you're watching this, I did promise yesterday that I would do a Boros Knights and Dragons deck, but it's still not quite there yet, 100%. Also, Croakies and Hello Good Game both posted Boros lists. I felt it was a little bit dull. Didn't want to keep the exact same color combinations coming out of all of your YouTube streams. I thought I'd switch things up and bring you something a little different, which I haven't seen anybody else do yet. So, Simic Werewolves or Primal Ramp. Which of the two is going to be better? You know me. I'm I'm just the kind of person who's really into tribal decks. I don't know how I could have said that any better, but you guys all know that. I mean, at least at first, when I first start, with a brand new set and a new season or a new, post rotation, I definitely like to check out all the various tribes and see which is best, if there are any that are amazing, that are just going to be like top tier 1 decks, but it's rarely the case. And I'm starting to realize that if I want to make something really competitive, it's less about trying to figure out like how many werewolves I can jam into a deck that have the blue and green and somehow still make something that functions, and you're better off, doing a more Croakies approach and just picking the best cards from those colors and putting them together and trying to figure out if they have synergies outside of the tribal theme. So one is the more tribal one, and the other is just a more traditional sort of Simic Ramp deck that just happens to have a few good werewolves in it. And we're going to see which of the two end up being the best. I am running... I did put Werewolf Ramp in the video description down below, as well as the EtherHub link, but by the end of the video, if I decide that Primal Ramp is actually the better version, then I'll put this one down in the description as well, and I'll post a separate deck up on EtherHub for you guys to copy. So, without further ado, let me stop blabbing and jump into some deck techs. So, actually, before I show you that one, I think let me show you the tribal one, which I'm quite proud of. It's actually pretty damn good. Werewolf Ramp, okay. Here it is, and what got me going was Suspicious Stowaway, which you could actually just play in a blue deck because you never cast the backside. You're always going to be just paying one colorless and a blue for this card. So you could play this in a mono blue deck and then just have it switch to green at nighttime, regardless of your mana base. And I've seen people doing this already with the Brutal Cathar, playing him in a mono white list, and splashing red for a little bit of Showdown of the Skulls action. But it's mono white with Brutal Cathar and Showdown of the Skulls, and it's working really, really well. I'm actually going to try one of those right after the stream. But in my case, I really wanted to play both colors because of what you get to play when you do so. So, again, I'm getting lost. I'm blabbing. Let's just do the usual. I'm going to run through the deck from left to right, sort of read out the cards, and then we're going to discuss various play lines and interactions. What is our win cons, how we're going to get there, and then we're going to jump into some gameplay footage with both decks. We'll try a little bit of unranked and then a little bit of ranked with both of them, and then we'll come back at the end of the stream and sort of discuss what we've discovered along the way, and make the adjustments as necessary. So, first card in the deck are only 1-drop is Snarling Wolf, new card from Midnight Hunt, 1 mana werewolf, wolf creature that can be pumped once each turn for 2 mana, making it a 3/3. So pretty decent little blocker. If you don't get your third land, you just hold up your 2 mana to either negate or test the talents something, or make this into a better blocker if they attack on their next turn. But otherwise, it's really just in there to have a 1-drop. Also, it will get the other wolves and werewolves you control have trample off of the Untamed pup, which is pretty sweet. Next up, the reason for playing blue, counter magic, card draw. So in this case, we're running 2 copies of Negate, 2 copies of Tested Talents, I think, and 4 copies of Sword Coming as our sort of counter spell package. And I'm quite liking the combination because we want to protect our important werewolves and wolves from opponents' targeted removal and or blood on the snow, etc. So Test the Talents is really in here. The main reason for it, and hold it up just for that reason, is exactly those cards I mentioned. Well, one of them in particular, Blood on the Snow, and the other one that's really good to catch with Test the Talents is, of course, Alrund's Epiphany. So save your Test of Talents if you have one in your opening hand. Wait for that perfect moment. Cast it when it means the most. Don't just waste it on something meaningless, because we've also got other counters. Negate also hits Planeswalkers, importantly, and then, of course, Sword Coming, which just hits everything. So that's our little counterspell package in the reason why we're running a Simic list and not just a Gruul one. Next up, I'm going to definitely be trying a Tamer werewolf list where we get to also run Arlen of the Pack and also a little bit of red burn spells, and see if a Tamer wolf package will work. But yeah, more on that in another video. Next up, our way of getting rid of enchantments and artifacts, other than Quandrix Command being able to counter target artifacts or enchantment spells. The only other way we have of getting rid of them is, other than again, more counters, is the Outland Liberator, which is a new card as well, human werewolf, and a werewolf on the backside. Outland Liberator, Frenzied Trap Breaker. Outland Liberator, you can, for a total of 3, cast it, pay 1, sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. But if it's nighttime, you can also sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment, but you can also, whenever it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls without having to sacrifice the Frenzied Liberator, and it becomes a 3/3, so obviously much better at nighttime. Loving this card. 2 of might go up to 3, but it's okay. It's really just in there to get rid of artifacts and enchantments, not really for its wolfiness. We've already talked about Sword Coming. Next up we have Hound Tamer, 3 of. 3 mana, 2 colorless and a green for a human werewolf with trample, and you can pay 4 to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature when it's daybound. When it's nightbound, it gives it grows, it becomes a 4/4, and all other wolves and werewolves you control have trample. It already has trample itself, so effectively every single wolf and werewolf you have on the battlefield will get trample if it is nighttime and Untamed Pup is on the battlefield. Next up, this is what we're ramping into. This is the whole point, right? We want to make a massive Primal Adversary. We can turn 4 Vastwood Surge. We'll end up having 6 and then 7 mana the next turn if you top deck a land, or if you happen to have another one in hand, at which point we can cast this for 3 and then have 5 mana, 4 mana, so you can do this 2 times, so we'll come into play as a 6/5 with trample, and you can make 2 of your lands into 3/3 wolf creatures with haste that are still lands. They come into play tapped in that example, but that's okay. The following turn, we're going to do some serious damage, especially if Untamed Pup is in play. Those 3/3 wolf creatures, will have trample, as well as you having a massive Primal Adversary on the board that usually is the game ender. Next up, Quandrix Command, just the 2 of. Pretty nice that you can put counters on things. There's a little bit of a counters theme going on with the Primal Adversary coming into play with additional counters on it if you pay the extra cost. The fact that you can put extra counters on things with the Hound Tamer's ability, and that if you can ever get to the point where you kick Vastwood Surge, you can also put 2+1/+1 counters on each creature you control. So we do have a little bit of a counters theme going on. So that's one use for Quandrix Command, but it's really in here to bounce your own creatures if they need saving from targeted removal and you do not have a counter available, or bouncing their important blockers, their important creatures, before they can do any damage, and then potentially counter it on its way back onto the field the following turn. But also, it's quite nice at some point when we're sort of running low on gas as far as our counter spells go, we can shuffle 3 target cards from our graveyard into the library. And we can also use that defensively in these reanimated decks or decks with flashback spells. I mean, there's so much graveyard shenanigans going on right now in the format that if it looks like your opponent's like just about to, for example, Cardus, what's their Saga from Kaldheim that reanimates something on the 3rd chapter, or whatever the case might be, just at the right moment you shuffle that card that they were going to reanimate back into their library. Makes it a non-threat for a while at least. So that it can be used in that way as well. I think it's a pretty versatile and good card in the deck. A couple copies of Quandrix Command, might go up to 3. We'll see how it goes. Then card draw, Memory Deluge. Amazing new card from Midnight Hunt. Instant speed, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast a spell. So you look at the top 4 cards of your library the first time you cast it, and then you get to put 2 of them into your hand and the rest into the bottom of your library in a random order. It can be flashed back for 7, which means then you can look at the top 7 cards of your library, put 2 of them into your hand and the rest into the bottom random order. So pretty sweet. We'll have to see whether the combination of... Oh, we didn't really talk about what it is that Suspicious Stowaway does. Okay, so it can't be blocked. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, then discard a card. If it's in daybound mode, if it's in nightbound mode, you just draw a card, you don't have to discard a card. So this is one way we have of drawing cards. This is the other way we have of drawing cards, which is, the most important thing in Magic. We need to keep drawing cards. So we'll see whether this is the best card draw card that we could run in the deck. It might be better to just run the foretellable one, Glimpse into the Universe, or whatever it's called. But I want to test this one out. I haven't been playing much of it. I got the full 4 of them, so might as well give it a whirl. Then as far as ramp is concerned, this is our only real rampy spell, and it's a weird one, Vastwood Surge. When Cultivate left the format, at least for me it did already a month ago, because I started playing Standard 2022. There's a significant lack of good ramp spells on turn 3, except for Roiling Regrowth, which only really works in a landfall deck because you're losing 1. You're only ramping by 1 with Roiling Regrowth. This on turn 4 has a sweet spot because you can play a turn 3 thing. Turn 4 you ramp, because anyway I don't have anything to really play on turn 4, and then it makes it so that I can play on turn 5 something that you could usually be only playing on turn 6 or 7. And in this case we're talking about Tovolar's Huntmaster, which is the top end of the deck. Other than ramping into a big Primal Adversary, we're also trying to ramp into Tovolar's Huntmaster, which is house 6/6. When it ETBs, you create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. If it's on Nightbound, not only does it create those tokens upon entering the battlefield, but it also creates an additional 2 upon attacking. And you can pay 4 however many times as you like, because it's not a tap ability. and you can basically use it as a fight spell. Another target wolf or werewolf you control fights target creature you don't control. That is my only issue with the deck. It's the only fight spell that we have. We might need to go down some counters or get rid of something. Maybe go down to 3 and 3 of these, and maybe, I don't know, and put in something like a Inscription of Abundance, or I don't know, because that would be a little bit of incidental life gain as well as fight spell, and counters, which kind of fits the theme. So that might be something that we do along the way in future versions. But okay, I've described the cards from left to right. The last thing that I've got left to do is to talk about the mana base. We are running one sneaky copy of Littjara Mirror Lake, which you can pay 5 and 2 colorless, 2 green, 1 blue, sack it, create a token that's a copy of a target creature you control, except it enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1. If we can do that on something like Hound Tamer even, or Tovolar's Huntmaster, amazingly, if we could, that would be just freaking phenomenal. But it's rarely gonna happen. But I like the sneaky little one of it could happen, and that would be really, really sweet. Then we're running 4 Snarls, 1 Campus for some scry action, 4 Pathways, 1 Lair of the Hydra, 1 Hall of the Storm Giants, and 6 of each basic. Alright, so that's the tribal one, okay? Obviously, wolves, wolf, 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 wolf. Counters, rampy, card draw. We're trying to, just get general value out of the early game creatures, and then get to the point where we can either cast a massive Primal Adversary or a Tovolar's Huntmaster, and then give everything trample with the Untamed Pup and just swing in for the kill. Pretty straightforward. Next up, we have the just more traditional Simic ramp that just happens to be running Primal Adversary and Suspicious Stowaway. So, Primal Ramp. 3 copies, Fading Hope. I like this card. I also really wanted to test it out. Like, it's really good for getting rid of tokens, of course. Big old tokens, and the mana value was 3 or less. You get to scry 1. So it's just a strictly better unsummon. I really like it, and I'm running 3 copies in this brew. Next up, Wizard class. A little bit of card draw, because the only other card draw that we have in the deck is the Suspicious Stowaway and the Introduction to Prophecy in the lesson board. So Wizard class, like, pretty nice. We have no maximum hand size. We're never really going to use that. I think what I might do is just go, like, maybe down 1 layer of the Hydra or something and put in, let me just do that right away. Whoop. Boom, 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 boom. Seagate Restoration, just 1 copy. You never know. It might be a good idea. 23 lands in the deck, though, might be really bad, but it is 24. We'll have to see. We might need to trim something and put in an extra land. In ramp decks, I tend to try and play 25, 26 lands if possible. But anyway, like I said, we're testing things. So yeah, level 2. When it becomes level 2, you draw 2 cards. And then whenever you draw a card, when it gets to level 3, you can put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So growing your Koma, growing your Primal Adversary, growing your Suspicious Stowaway, growing your Tovolar is only going to ever be a good thing. So hopefully we'll get that to happen at least once in one of the games where we get a Wizard class to level 3. It's quite a bit of mana to sink into it, but it does have a pretty good payoff. Next up, the all-star in these two brews, the showcased card, one of the two, aside from Primal Adversary, which I wish I had 4 of, but I only have 3 of, and I'm out of wild cards, unfortunately. But I'll definitely be crafting a 4th one as soon as I have another mythic wild card. But Suspicious Stowaway, we've already talked about. Card draw, unblockable card draw. I like it. Let's see how it runs in this version of the deck. It might not be that good if you know, there's probably better things we could be running in the 2-drop slot, but I just wanted to test it out and see how it goes. Tested talents we all know and love. I've already discussed what we're going to be doing with this card, and then we've also running 2 copies of Return to Nature because we didn't have a way of getting rid of enchantments and artifacts like we did in the previous deck. But it's also, again, serving this exile target card from graveyard, similar to what we were trying to do with the Quandrix Command by shuffling that card back into their library. There's so many things, like I said, that end up in graveyards that we need to get rid of in this set and in this format, and I think a couple of copies of Return to Nature is going to be in here more for the 3rd option than the first 2, but we'll have to see. Next up, Divide by Zero. You know, this ramp list is basically just the Simic ramp list that everybody else has been running, just with a couple of key cards removed. But the main takeaway is that a lot of people are running Divide by Zero instead of Sword Coming in this ramp deck. If you had to run both of them, it would be a little bit too many things in the 3-drop slot, and yeah, it's actually better to have Divide by Zero in some cases. You return, you know, you can save your cards when they're being targeted by returning them to your own hand, or you can, you know, return a spell as it's being cast, effectively countering it even though it ends up back in the opponent's hand. But then that gives us access to a learn board where I'm running Environmental Sciences for the land, Teaching of the Archaics for the card draw, Basic Conjuration to go find our big creatures that we need when we need them. Containment Breach is another way of getting rid of some pesky class enchantments. Then Introduction to Prophecy, just to scry and draw. 1 copy of Introduction to Annihilation, because I always run at least 1, especially in decks that don't have, you know, hard removal like black or red or something like that. Then it's nice to have this option. And then Mascot Exhibition, because what lesson board isn't complete without at least 1 copy of Mascot Exhibition. So yeah, Divide by Zero, great card, 4 of. Next up, Primal Adversary, we've already talked about. That's what we're trying to ramp into mostly in this deck, although we do have 2 copies of Koma and 2 copies of Tovolar as well. But yeah, I really want to get it off at least once on stream where we make this thing just huge. Ramp so many lands, pump them all into Primal Adversary, and then just have this really explosive following turn with a really big bunch of wolves. Quandrix Command we've already talked about. Vastwood Surge as well. This is our land ramp on turn 4 that is going to get us into a really nice one, which I've done now, like in testing a few times, is the one I just described. So turn 4, you get 2 more basics, you happen to have 1 more in your hand, or you top deck the next one. Turn 5 you can Alrund's Epiphany, and that just sets you up to do all sorts of game ending stuff. So 4 copies of Alrund's Epiphany, and 2 copies Tovolar, 2 copies Koma, and that's the brew. Again, Hall of the Storm Giants, Lair of the Hydra, blah 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 blah. That's it. Let's jump into some games and see which of these decks performs best. I'm going to start off in a little bit of unranked with the tribal one. At this point in the stream, I always like to do my little bit of self-promotion. Those of you who are watching me for the first time, or those of you who are return viewers but have not yet done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. I'm rapidly approaching the 200 subscriber mark. When I do, a giveaway will be triggered. I'm giving away some cosmetics and a full play set of Boros lands. So if you would like to take part of that, have a look in the description of this video. There is a link that'll send you to the video with all of the giveaway information. Go check it out. Of course, also if you could kindly do all of the other good YouTube stuff, like the video, leave me some comments. I always love your comments, and hit the bell icon if you would like to be notified of future daily uploads. Alright, now that that is out of the way, what is this hand looking like? We need to top deck one more land so we can Vastwood Surge on turn 4. That's all I'm really interested in right now. Opponent is a fellow stoner. Black Sail 420. Okay, there's our 4th land. Might even just play a Sultai. Interesting. Should we just play one out? If they have removal, they use it on the adversary, and then they don't use it on the Tovolar. Also, if we... Oh no, we don't have Alrund's Epiphany in this brew. We could have done the thing, because we've got an extra land in hand. Alright. Hopefully no counter spell, and then we can Tovolar next turn. Could be a negate, flip the switch. Okay, so Sultai zombies, which I also want to do. There's a new card from the set that you create X zombies, where X is the number of creatures in your graveyard rounded up or something like that, which is in Golgari colors. It's the only zombie themed card that has any sort of green involved, but it might actually be a good idea. Like a, oh god, Mortality Spear, nice. Well, you can't counter it now, can you? Okay. Would love to top deck a counter spell of any kind. Test the Talent's Negate would be amazing. Or Memory Deluge. Interesting brew you've got going on here, brother. I like it. Sure. There I was wondering if I would be able to draw enough lands. Only running 23 actual lands and 1 MDFC. Oh no, sorry, that's in the other version of the deck. This one's running 25. Okay, so definitely Sultai zombies. That Death Toucher is a big problem. I just can't stand it when the deck does this. It's like every land in my deck right away. No? What's he gonna put it on? The adversary? Wow. Crazy stuff. Four. Try at least. I mean, Ridiculous. This is just insanity, mate. Oh, that's okay. Probably thinking about it. Interesting brew. I like it. I really, really like it. Okay. Goes for the block. Got a Portuguese cider tonight. Bandida do Pomar. The fox of the apple fox. Very on theme. There we go. That's the one I was talking about. This is the card I was just talking about, and it's rare. So you create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed, where X is half of the number of creatures in your graveyard rounded up. With flashback for 5. Some of these flashback costs, some of them are really well costed, others are just too much. Are you swinging with those zombies? Yes. If I top deck another land, I might just scoop. God. Nice. Are you kidding me, mate? It's not possible that this shit just keeps happening to me. Like, what the heck, man? Insane. Like, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lands in the top 20 cards of our deck. Sure. That's literally it. I mean, even... whatever, don't get me started. Ridiculous. Like, now we get the counter spells, right? God, what a crock of shit. That was horrible. Just a little bit of bad luck. Game 2, let's go. What we need here is... Seems as though my good luck hat is gone. Cannot find it. whatever. It's unranked, we're testing. You should never keep a hand like that. For future reference. Makes the treasure. Underrated card, this one. A little bit of ramp in a place that doesn't usually get it. Oh, the expert. Take a land. See if I care. I think this is the point at which we should keep up Sword coming rather than cast the Suspicious Stowaway. Comes a 3/3. Okay. I don't mind another one of those. What else you got for me? I'm such a bad ramp player. Probably should have kept that spell up. Okay. No blocks. Probably gonna take the pup. Yeah. Okay. Esper things happening. Okay. It's a weird card to play. Menace. Sure. Wow. Great cards. Does he have removal? We haven't top decked a single one of our tested talents or negates in 2 games. Cool thing about Tovolar is he's not... Ooh. Really? Nice. Hey guys, Billy, Ink Blessed. Thanks for coming, guys. Good to have you on the stream. We're testing out Simic Werewolves. Little bit of unranked, little bit of ranked. I think 3 games is good. I think we've just run it now twice in unranked. So now we're gonna run it in ranked. Boop. Haven't played ranked since I made Mythic and my rank keeps going up. Well, that's nice. Thanks, Billy. I'm wondering, that shouldn't happen. I wish I had that bug. I still haven't decided which brew I'm gonna make my concerted attempt at getting into Mythic with yet. Probably gonna try a mono white list. Okay, something new, not just mono white or mono green or friggin' Gruul werewolves. Okay, here's the Blood Chief's Thirst. When it dies, create a zombie. Cool. What are we gonna discard? That's the question. I love the art on the Seafaring Werewolf. That's so nice. It's like the guy went down to... oh god. Oh god. We need to run... you know what, in the deck. He's just gonna attack me again with the Faceless Haven. But that's just the way it is. Next turn we can make a 5/4, which still only trades with the Faceless. It's terrible. To make this a 6/5, you need to spend 7 mana total. Okay, he's not going for the Faceless Haven, which is weird. Guess he needs the mana for something. No? Let's go Deluge. They've clearly got good removal. If he attacks with the Faceless Haven, do we block it? That is the question. Never mind. Another 3 damage. I'm starting to see the problems with the deck now. Like, playing it, it's probably not enough good creatures. Tovolar isn't always going to be enough. So much sickness. What are you doing? Just thinking about it. Feels good. Finally, test of talents. I think he's probably going to try and do the sacrifice thing, but he wants to keep up this Death Toucher as a blocker for our bigger creatures. It is effectively, you know, brick walling us. I can't attack. We are presenting lethal. He can't attack. Okay. The 7-mana deluge. Okay, he's got the removal spell probably. That's okay. We can grab a Primal Adversary and this one should be pretty tasty. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it twice. Actually, no, I'm going to do it once and keep up some mana. Okay, I think we can discard one of our surges. We've got enough land at this point. It's nice that he's tapped his Faceless Haven by mistake, I guess. Now we can win. We just bounce with Quandrix Command and swing in for the kill. That's a GG. Victory in... Oh no, Billy. 88 is lower than... It's weird how that works. Like 90% mythic means you're in the top 10%. Oh, that makes sense. So when you don't play for a while, you drop down. Alright, so that was the Tribal Werewolves. We saw some flaws. I think, what are we really ramping into? Is Tovolar enough to win games? It's not like a Koma or anything like that. Primal Adversary is a wonky one. Like, you need to have a lot of mana to make it really like a... When you play it, you win. You need to wait until the following turn. It will probably get removed before then. So, I mean, that's my takeaway from this particular version. Probably could do with some bigger bombs than just Tovolar at the top end. But nice little synergy. We got to saw how much work the Seafaring Wolf just put in there for us. Just that consistent 2 damage every turn that they can't block and card draw really allowed us to win that last one. We didn't really get the Untamed Pup gives everything trample thing off, but otherwise pretty sweet. We did get to remove some artifacts with the Frenzied Trap Breaker. I like this deck. It needs work. I'm still not entirely sure what that means, but as far as Simic Wolves goes, gets the BrewLab stamp of approval. Next up, Primal Ramp. I think I'm going to just play this one in ranked straight away because I won the last 3 games that I played in ranked with it, and it's feeling really, really good. I don't think I need to test this one in unranked. The Cheese did it. That's a cool nickname. The Cheese did it. Alright, that is pretty rubbish. But it does have potential. If we top deck some lands, I'm just going to give it a whirl and see if I get lucky. I'm not in the mood for too much mulliganing. Koma. It's pretty cool how like the 2 sides of the card, or the token that it spawns, the art is from a different artist. Super nice card though. Oh come on, man! I hate it when it does this. Like, yeah, sure. There's only 2 of them in the whole deck. Don't give me a 3rd land. Give me the only other copy of the most expensive card in my deck. It's just ridiculous. There's you got removal. Nice little... What's it called again? Burn. If he does, I'm going to bounce my own card. Okay. Please a land. Please a land. This is the one where we went down to 20... This is the one where we went down to 23 and running 1 of the Seagate Restoration. It's not going to be okay. We need to change things. I can already tell. Insane. It just drives me insane, this kind of thing. Like, last game, freaking 15 lands in the top 20 cards of our deck. Next game, 2 lands. There we go. Woo! unbelievable. 3 lands, man. What? How can we be out-ramped by a Gruul deck when we're playing Simic? It just blows my tits off. Oh, thank you for that. Finally, some land to work with. Oh. So, one more land, we can play Koma the next turn, or we just do a big adversary. We're playing the classic. Why wouldn't you attack with both? That is the question. Or we probably, if we top deck another land, we Alrunds, then Koma. Please, baby. You haven't given me lands the whole game. Yes! That is the way the cookie crumbles. You're gonna do it? You're gonna block with your Tovolar? 100% win rate with this deck so far. Sitting on 4 victories. Now, sometimes I can't read that deck tracker properly. Yeah, so far of the 2, this one's the one feeling a little better, to be honest. I just need to put more lands in it, and I'm not entirely sure what I would trim to do so. Probably can get rid of Return to Nature and just rely on the Containment Breach if we really need it, but there's so many class enchantments. Maybe just one less Surge. Or one less Epiphany. Let's give that a whirl. Vox von Middlesticks. Man, how many times does this have to happen? Like, the last game we had two Komas, now we got 2 Tovolars in the freaking opening hands. Like, mulligan this time. Roar. Okay, hopefully not mono green. God, we put that to the bottom. Jund treasure? It's possible. Let's play another. cycle away this island, depending on what we top deck. Yeah. Dodgy. Oh, crikey. Oh, it's the gold span. Sure. It's just incredible. Okay, he's trying to go for the Vorpal sword thing in the jig. Four, 5, 6. One more turn. Unless he's got another gold span. This one did not go well at all. Oh god. Nice. That's a lot of treasures. That's to the mana value of 10. If he's got even just one crackle with power, we're screwed. Okay. Anyway, this game's over. Ooh. A little late to the party, aren't we? Oh, well. First loss with the deck. Got a little unlucky with the draws. C'est la vie. It's weird, you like my vape is only just slightly out of the frame here. So still got this midnight hunt sealed to resume. If I need a few gems, I'll probably do that later. By the way, I'm gonna pop onto Twitch after the stream and continue some brewing for tomorrow. So if anybody's keen on checking out my process, I won't be doing much talking, but you'll get to see me tinkering in the lab. You know, come and check me out over there. if you have nothing better to do after the stream. Cronies unite. Black is so good right now, honestly. Okay, Skeletal Swarming, Professor Onyx, Sedgemoor Witch. Nice. No problem. Only really needed it for the card draw, which I have done. Can play Koma next turn with the Seagate Restoration. Hopefully he doesn't have a... Should we just do this instead? I like that. Sweet. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good haul. Treasure, treasure, draw, draw, gain life. Skeletal Swarming. Lolf. Ooh! Nice. Very nice. Too bad for you. I'm gonna start doing Epiphanies. Does he have an exile effect in hand right now? We can still save our Koma. Better than nothing. Now we've already got a coil in play. Hopefully he doesn't have an exile. It's only really sure. Tovolar next turn, baby. Okay, so let's make it indestructible before it's too late. It's a lot of mana. 4, 5, 6, 7. Now he's got the removal. No. Whew. Okay, now we're ready for him. next time we do it with the Tovolar in play. I think we got him. Does he have like a blood on the snow or something? Still, we can save the Koma. That should do it. That was a spicy meatball. Loving life. Alright guys, I think we've gotten to the bottom of this. I really like the deck. It's performing like crazy good. I don't want the stream to go on too long over time. We've managed to get in about 7 matches in total. I think the answer to the question we asked at the beginning of the stream, which of the two sort of philosophies is better, you know, just go full tribal, which I love and we all know that, or is it better to just, you know, put good cards that synergize with each other regardless of the tribe? And I think the answer is the latter. If you really want to make something competitive, there hasn't been like a truly tribal deck that's competitive in a while, except for Rogues. Rogues was the last like really clearly like tribal deck that, you know, won big events and, you know, was top meta share for months and etc, etc. But I can't think of one before that that was like really top tier. Maybe Knights when Eldraine first dropped and before all the other sets came out. Maybe I can't think of another that's really been like as explosive, or not explosive, but just solid and consistent as the Rogues were in previous standard. So it'll be interesting to see where the Wolves, you know, the Gruul version takes over from that role as the obnoxious tribal deck to beat in standard. But so far, I don't think so. But anyway, I'm going to upload this version of the deck to either hub, and I will put it in the video description down below for you guys to copy. I think it's really good. I think it's really good. What I would like to hear from you guys is how you would run it differently. Would you be putting, you know, maybe away Wizard class and putting in Deluge as a card draw spell? Would that clog up the 4-drop slot too much? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But that's going to be it for tonight. I will see you all tomorrow with some fresh brews. Thank you all so much for watching. And until then, this is Lone Fox from the BrewLab, signing out.